So you're going to answer these questions. The first talking chip you put in, you're going to answer the first question. The second talking chip you put in, you're going to answer the second question. You have about 3 minutes in your groups to discuss this. If everybody has used both of their talking chips, then I want everybody to take two back or take two out again of the middle, and then you're going to talk more about these, and you can respond to then what other people have said. All right? So if somebody said something that you really liked, then you can respond to what they said. But I want you to continue the discussion about these two topics for 3 minutes. Does it matter who goes first?
No.
Is there any specific order you have to go in? No. All right. Go ahead, and whoever in each group is ready to go ahead and put your talking chip in and begin. All right, so yesterday we broke into groups based off of a topic that we were learning. All right, you did a very good job in those groups learning information that you need to know about the topic that we learned. Today, we're going to get into groups based off of the number that you got yesterday. And there's going to be one person from each topic that's in your group. So you're going to get to see what everybody else learned today. All right? So first things first, we're going to break up into those groups. Did anybody have a number 5? 4 was our biggest. Okay, that's how I thought. If there are 5 people in your group, since there's only 4 desks, somebody can go to the back, grab a stool, and bring it to the group. I would like 1s to sit right here. 2s, you're going to be here. 3s, you're going to be here. And 4s over here. Go ahead and move, please. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? 3, 2, all right, thank you. You have things written on your paper above the line. You have 3 sentences that are written on your paper above the line. Those 3 sentences match up with a sentence on this page. So, for example, if you were in the perspective group yesterday, please raise your hand. If you were in the perspective group yesterday, who learned about perspective? Fernando, can you please read me the very first sentence that is written on your piece of paper? So you must choose one side to argue. So your sheet here says you must choose blank side to argue. So everybody's going to fill in that blank with 1. So everybody please write the word 1 in that very first. Now, what you're going to do then is you're going to read those 3 sentences nice and slowly so that the rest of your group can fill in the blanks. Or the third one, you need to circle the answer to the question. Then after they've done that, you have that line on your page. You're going to read those 3 facts below the line to the group. So you're going to just give them additional information about perspective. Then when the timer goes off, after 1 minute and 15 seconds, then the second person's going to go. The second person is going to be evidence. They're going to read their 3 statements above the line while the group fills in. Then they're going to read their 3 facts below the line. And we're going to do that till everybody's had a turn to go. If you don't get everything in that amount of time, it's okay. We're going to go over everything as a class. We're going to go over this whole sheet as a class. So if somebody wrote down the wrong information, or if someone skipped a sentence, or if you're not sure if the word's right, or if you're missing someone from that group, it's okay. We'll have all this information by the end of the class period. Now for our next activity, we're going to be part of the worksheet. So we're going to be answering these questions here. We need to determine, is it a claim or a thesis? So, who would like to read the first one out loud for me, please? Isaac.
Students should have at least 1 hour of homework every day.
All right, now I'm not asking if you think that's a true or false statement. I'm asking, is that a claim or is that a thesis? Because remember, a claim states your opinion. A thesis has a claim and 3 reasons. Nuna, you think it's a claim? You think right. It is a claim, yes. So on this line, you're going to write claim. Now the activity that we're going to be doing is called a think, pair, share. Okay? Alright. Shh. Listen. Here's what we're going to do. We're talking about evidence today, and one of the activities we're going to do is I'm going to read a story. And we're going to bring one person in when I read the story, and they have to tell the next person, and they have to tell the next person. So it's going to be like a telephone game. And we're going to see what the story sounds like at the end. There once was a Cajun man named John Paul. He moved to Arkansas and bought himself a donkey from an old farmer for $100. The farmer agreed to deliver the donkey the next day. The next day, the farmer drove up and said, "I'm sorry, but I have some bad news. The donkey died just last night." "Well then, just give me my money back." The farmer replied, "I can't do that, sir. I went and spent it already." John Paul says, "Okay then, just unload him right there." "What do you got to do with a dead donkey?" the farmer asked. "Raffle him off." "You can't raffle off a dead donkey?" "That's where you're wrong. You watch and you learn how we Cajuns are so smart." A month later, the farmer met up with the Cajun and asked, "What happened with that dead donkey?" "I raffled that donkey off. I sold 500 tickets at $2 a piece, and I made $998. "Didn't anyone complain?" the farmer asked. "Only the guy who won, so I gave him his money back." Hey, you don't get to come on up front here. All right, you did. Tell Antoinette everything you remember about the story.
Did a donkey die?
Okay, a donkey died. What else?
There was a man and money.
Okay, what else? Anything?
Oh my God. A man complaining about a donkey.
Okay. Well, can you please look at Antoinette and tell her what you remember about the story instead of out in the hallway then, please?
Okay.
Do you remember anything else?
No, I think.
Okay. All right. Tell him the story.
Don't tell him.
A donkey died and apparently the guy had some money.
Okay, anything else? All right, Felipe, please tell the class the story.
Well, as a kid,
Tell the class, though, in your own words.
I think he said a donkey died. I don't know.
Okay, a donkey died. Anything else?
I think that was it.
That was it. That's all that happened in the story was a donkey died. All right.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's first give our volunteers a round of applause. Thank you for volunteering. All right, volunteers, you may have a seat. So, Louis, Felipe, Nuna, and Antoinette. Do you want to know what this story was really about? You've heard the original version. Do you want to know what the story was really about?
Panic, that's why.
All right. Is that the same story that Felipe told the class at the end?
No.
No, it's not. Now, we're talking about evidence. What in the world did this whole thing have to do with evidence? What was the point of this?
The donkey died?
Yeah. Kenny?
If you got a donkey and he gives the old man $100 and he gives the $100 and the donkey died.
Yeah. Why are we talking about that when we're talking about evidence, though? Is that evidence? No. Melissa?
It's evidence because when Felipe said the donkey died, he got it from someone else who got it from someone else. So that was his evidence of the story.
Let's go on with that thought process right there. Felipe, where did Felipe get his information from? Louis. Where did Louis get his information from? Nuna. Where did Nuna get her information from? Antoinette. Where did Antoinette get her information from? Udid. Where did Udid get her information from? The story. Me. The story. So, who had the most accurate information? Who was telling the most accurate information? Udid? Me. Because I had the original source. I was telling the most accurate information. Who was telling the least accurate information? Felipe. We went from an entire story that took about 2 minutes to read to one sentence of a donkey died. That's a lot of information that was left out. They didn't include that the Cajun man paid for the donkey, that the farmer spent the money, that they were in Arkansas. There was a lot of information that was left out. So why do we talk about that when we talk about evidence? For specifically using evidence as support in an argumentative essay. What do those two things have to do with each other? Any thoughts? If I'm writing a paper about that story, am I going to take Felipe's version or am I going to go to the story? Go to the story. So, what kind of sources do we want to use when we're talking about evidence? Do we want to use people and places, or people and information that knows firsthand, or do we want to go on down the line? We want to get it from the very beginning. Now, on a side note, what else can we relate this to in our personal lives? No, I'm talking about the chain of stories. How can we relate that into our personal lives? What happens if Udid tells me a secret? Gossip. What about gossip? Udid tells me something. I turn around and tell Sheila. Sheila turns around. Yeah, rumors. That's how rumors start. So, whenever you hear something about someone, or before you think to say something about someone, remember what just happened right here in front of us. And the stories change. Things get left out. I read a story, second period, about Holmes and Watson going camping, and the story ended up about Abraham Lincoln giving a speech. So things get changed. And that was over the course of 30 seconds to a minute. So things get changed. People remember things differently. So just be careful of that when you're in your personal lives. But back to essays.